Welcome back to another episode of Biff Bampow, a comic book podcast. We are back for our X-Men Krakoa Era Retrospective series. This is going to be part 5. Well, technically, you've read the title. This is part 5, part 1 of Destiny of X. I'm joined by my good buddy Aid to talk about Destiny of X. They are going to be in both parts 1 and 2 of this. There is a ton of stuff to cover in Destiny of X. It is a very dense portion from the Krakoa era of X-Men comics, and there's just so much to talk about that I could not fit it into one episode. We have multiple events, the launch of 2 very big books, that being Immortal X-Men and X-Men Red. A lot of ups and downs, just a lot to talk about, so we decided to split this into 2 parts. Part 2 of Destiny of X will be coming out in the coming months. But this is part 1, so I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Thank you to my current patrons. Thank Malcolm Russell Nelson, Matt Parent, and Joe Palumbo. If you do want to become a patron, it is linked down in the show notes below. Again, it is never necessary, but it is always appreciated. It's only one tier at $2 a month, and you get all the benefits that include monthly AMAs, new comic reviews, early access to main feed episodes, monthly bonus episodes where I either talk about a movie, a TV show, or just anything that me and a friend feel like talking about, and more. So if you want to join the Patreon, again, link down in the show notes below. If you're looking to buy omnibuses, trade paperbacks, other graphic novels, etc., for a great price, go to OrganicPricedBooks.com and use code biffbampowpod for $2 off your order at checkout, or use code biffbampowsit for 5% off 4 items or more. As always, all my socials will be linked down in the show notes below, and that is all the plugs from me. Once again, thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy this episode. All right, Aid, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I feel honored, after I've been really keeping up on the show. You have so many prestigious guests. I am honored to be counted among them.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you. We met through the Cerebro podcast, which is, I've talked on this podcast so many times. I love Cerebro, and we met through the Cerebro Discord. You are my action figure person. I don't know. We talk about action figures a lot. So
anytime there's a Marvel Legends fan stream, I'm always right there. Like, hey, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Have you seen this? Have you seen this? It's really cool. It's really cool. Here, take a look at this.
Yeah, because I don't keep up. Like, those streams are always long and they always come at like a random time. So you always tell me there's a stream today, and I'm like, okay, I'll know what stuff gets revealed after the stream. You'll send me a ton of pictures. So so we met in the Cerebro Discord, and we've been just, chatting back and forth like all the time, became quick friends, and I wanted to get you on because I know that you're a huge fan of the Krakoa era, probably more than I am, honestly. And I wanted to get you on for Destiny specifically because this is an era that I am always that I'm torn on, especially on this revisit. There are a ton of books that I like and a ton of books that I do not. This is, to me, where the era starts to fall flat a bit, but we'll get into that throughout both these parts because, again, as listeners, you've heard in the intro, this is part 1 of Destiny of X. There is so much to talk about because this is very dense. There's just a lot of stuff that happens. So we are splitting this into 2 parts. Expect part 2 in a couple months. But yeah, anyways, enough rambling. My icebreaker question. So first up, what are your top 4 movies?
Okay. So let's see if I can get this off the dome. So my number 1 on Letterboxd, since I pay for Letterboxd, $50 a year. That's $50 I could spend. I spend money on a free app listeners, best financial decision you can make. I'm not a financial person. Buy Letterboxd Patron. It's so much fun. But my number one, because it always shows up as my header on my profile, is Wes Anderson's Asteroid City.
Oh, good one.
Yeah, it's something special. It really is. It's one of the few films that makes me cry every time. You know how some films, when you see it the first time, makes you cry? This movie, every time. And that's something special.
It's good. I mean, it's his most recent. Well, he has a new one coming out in like a month, but like as of now, it's his most recent released film. I love it as well. I think it's among his best. So, great choice.
Oh, it's so good. Second, I'm going to ruffle some feathers here. The best Ghibli movie, hands down, called Princess Mononoke.
I don't think you'd ruffle any feathers. That's a lot of people love Mononoke.
That is fair. That is fair. I want to be dramatic here. Come on.
All right.
Yeah. I love both the subcast and the dubcast. I think it is anyone who is in that movie is giving a performance of a lifetime. And the story is so impactful, especially now, with, recent events, things that are going on right now. I think it's really prescient in a way that audiences, when it came out, couldn't really appreciate. And I just, it's perfect. It's just perfect.
Did you see the anniversary screening, the 4K in theaters? I missed it too. So yeah,
the only anniversary screening of any movie, like really any movie, was Akira back in 2020. I saw that in 4K, in IMAX 4K, and it was beautiful.
I would have loved to see that. Now, I similarly, I saw the anniversary screening in IMAX of Ghost in the Shell. Oh. So kind of the same vein. And shout out to Doug for Every Kind of Geek, because I always tell him that just to make him jealous, because he loves that movie. And he's always, because he sees movies in 70 millimeter all the time. I don't have real IMAX near me, so I always just jab that into him. Like, I saw Ghost in the Shell though.
My brother does that to me, because he saw Sinners in 70 millimeter, like the rarest format.
I saw it in fake. I saw it in like fake IMAX, but it was still excellent. It was still excellent though. We got like the aspect ratio changes and everything. Incredible. But what's your third?
My third is this is my sleeper pick. It is Double Indemnity from 1944. It is Billy Wilder directing with Fred MacMurray as the lead. It is one of, if not the most influential noir movie in the history of American cinema. You think of moral seediness, this kind of pervasive darkness that comes with the noir genre. Double Indemnity has that. It is gripping at every second of the movie. From the first minute, it's go, 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 go. And it's a spectacular watch. I have it right over there on my book/figure/CD/DVD shelf, /vinyl shelf actually also. I have very few DVDs, but it is a very special one of mine, and it's on the Criterion collection for all of my cinema fans. It has a Criterion release, and it's very good. Go watch it.
I will definitely add that to the watch list. That's actually one I haven't seen, so I'll definitely take that recommendation.
All right, let me know how it is.
Hell yeah. All right, so what is your fourth?
My fourth, this is the slot that changes the most.
I'm the same way, yep.
Yeah.
My fourth always changes.
Yeah, 3 locks, 1 change. Right now, because before it was Dog Day Afternoon with Al Pacino, which is great. But right
Wow.
now it is Hudsucker Proxy by the Coen brothers. What got
Love a good
me?
Coen brothers.
I love a good Coen brothers movie. I still need to see. I need to see Blowout. No, it's Blood Simple. Blowout is.
Yeah, Blowout is De Palma. I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
that's De Palma. I was just in a Mission Impossible rewatch.
I watched the first one like 2 days ago.
It's so
I'm in
good!
It's really good. It might be like towards the top of my list now after this rewatch. It has so much style. It's so good. But anyways,
we love De Palma.
yeah, we love
Hudsucker
it.
Proxy. It's in a word, charming. It will make you smile. It will make you cry. It will make you go, "Hey, look! Wow, a miniature sequence in the first minute." And it's just, it grabs you, and it will never let go. Counting the mezzanine, not counting the mezzanine.
All right. Well, I always say my top 4 on here, but just to keep the conversation going just a bit, I'll just say it again. So, my top 4 right now, just like you, I always have 3 locks, and then I have a 4th that kind of always changes. So right now it's Kill Bill Volume 1, 2001: A Space Odyssey, King of Comedy, and a Goofy movie. That's my current 4.
That is a strong 4. That is a very strong 4.
Thank you.
Three movies and 1 Goofy movie.
That is my favorite Disney movie, and it has always been since I was a kid. So
You know what?
I love that movie.
I don't blame you.
It's good.
It is. Oh, it's so good. Those are all great movies.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like that also just kind of like encapsulates my taste. It's like I have one just like super just like cool badass like violent movie with my Tarantino pick. Yeah. I have like Vibes, the movie with 2001.
Yeah.
King of Comedy is like I love satire and all that stuff, and then a Goofy movie, just like childhood favorite.
Oh, incredible. We should go to Angelica one time. See what's showing at the Angelica in Manhattan. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be awesome. But all right, so second icebreaker, what are your comic book origins? How did you get into comics?
My comic book origin story has 2 false starts. I can point to the exact issues, my first 2 comics that I've ever had. The first was in November 2011. It was Star Wars Knight Errant Deluge number 4. So, a Legends comic, subtitle, middle of the run, and it was just something for me to read on the train, and I was like, wow, comics kind of rule. This is kind of fun. Wait a minute, hang on, comics are kind of cool. I was 10 years old. Wow, comics are kind of fun. And that notion of, wow, comics are fun, just kind of stuck with me for a little bit. And then the next year, 2012, Avengers comes out. Kind of the biggest movie of the decade. Let's be real here. And so I was like, wow, I really like this comic book movie. I'm going to go read some comic books. And for all of you comics fans, what was the big Marvel event coming out at that time? That's right, Avengers vs. X-Men.
Oof.
Yeah. So, during a different trip to New York, we went to Midtown Comics, and my favorite character from the Avengers was Captain America, and I didn't want to get bogged down in all of that plot nonsense, so while my older brother got Avengers vs. X-Men number 12, which is the final issue, I bought AVX number 2, which has... It's the Avengers vs. X-Men fight book. Specifically, I bought it because Captain America was on the cover. And I didn't know it at the time, but that was my soft introduction to the X-Men because Cap was fighting Gambit in a very fun fight sequence, I think written and drawn by Steve McNiven.
So it wasn't the main series, right? Because
No, it wasn't. It was the side fight series.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to add, I've said this before, but like I don't like Avengers versus X-Men. I'm just gonna keep it real. And it always amazes me how the writing team on that book is like all my favorite favorite writers, including my favorite Brian Michael Bendis.
Yeah.
Like, which is it just amazes me. I'm like, I hate this comic, but like, just for the listeners, the writing team on this book was Brian Michael Bendis, Matt Fraction, Ed Brubaker, Jonathan Hickman, and Jason Aaron. Those are like 5 of my favorite writers in all of comics, and I hate that comic. It has like its moments. I think the Hickman issues are like clearly, I mean, on brand for what we're going to be talking about. The Hickman issues are clearly him doing Krakoa before Krakoa. But yeah, what a flawed comic.
What a mess.
Just a mess. But
But it's really interesting. Why did they get Brubaker?
He was writing Captain America.
Yeah, he's doing Captain America.
Which, I mean, it's Avengers versus X.
But you could limit it to 2 writers. You could get Bendis and Fraction.
Yeah.
What do you have 3 other people? What's going on here?
I think it was all the writers on like all the big books. So like you had Hickman doing Fantastic Four at the time. Bendis was doing Avengers. Brubaker was doing Cap, and I think he was doing Daredevil too. And then he might have left around that time. I don't know.
Because that was that no Shadowland was 2011. So we're in Wade Samney Daredevil right now.
Around that time, yeah. So and then I think Jason Aaron was doing. He might have started Thor, but he was doing some X-Men books.
Wolverine and the X-Men.
He had just finished his Wolverine main title, like the main Wolverine book. He might have he was doing Wolverine and the X-Men. That was that time. So you got the X-Men writers, and then Fraction was doing X-Men. It's like all the big. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense why they were the writing team, but it's just the product. It's up and down.
It's kind of too many
very
cooks.
Inconsistent. Too many cooks in the kitchen. Great art team, good looking book.
Yeah,
but
it's something to look at, not something to read.
Yep, but anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that
tangent.
tangent.
This is great. If this is any indication, we're gonna have a very fun conversation on Destiny.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So that was the second false start. Then the next year, so we're now 2 years on after my first comic, I pick up in Universal. I go to Universal Studios in Florida, Islands of Adventure. There is just a comic book store in the middle of a theme
I've been
park.
there, yep.
Disney, take notes.
Yeah,
please. So this is right as Marvel Now is really kicking off.
A great era.
Yeah, an incredible era. I love that era so much. Because I pick up Rick Remender's Captain America #1.
My goat, Rick Remender.
Goat.
I mean, you could see behind me, I have all his Image hardcovers.
Oh my god, wow. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible.
The goat.
The goat. And obviously Dimension Z, a really, really good story for Steve. A lot of pathos for him. And I get that first issue in Universal, and I was hooked. I immediately, once I got back, I was like, okay, I am 12 years old. I am ready to read every single issue of this book. And I got every issue of the book because we're at like issue 10 at this point. And I was hooked from there. I read all the way through to All New Captain America with my goat, Sam Wilson. I think, a side note, that Sam Wilson's costume is amazing.
It is, yeah.
And it is Stuart Immonen on art.
It's Immonen, yeah.
Yeah, it is Immonen for All New.
Draws the shit out of that book, too.
Yeah, he does. God, I love that book so much. It only got 5 issues,
good one.
And I'm so mad about it.
Yeah, because then Remender did which I think was the best decision he's ever made. He left Marvel and did the best work of his career at Image.
Yeah.
So, it's a shame he left, but I mean, best decision he's ever made. I mean,
absolutely. Rick Remender, if you're hearing this, thank you.
Come on the show. I want to talk to you about all your new books and gush about Black Science and Deadly Glass.
Do it. Let this man talk to you, please. God, I could gush about Rick Remender all day, and I think you could too. Yeah. I've
done, I think, 2 episodes on Rick Remender. I'm planning on. I mean, little peek behind the curtain. I'm planning on talking about Grommets, which just ended and is maybe my comic of the past 2 years. It's like, it might be recency bias, but I think it's one of my favorite comics of all time. I love that book. Listeners, if you haven't read Grommets, it's Rick Remender, Brian Posehn, and Brett Parson, who I think this is his first comic, and it is gorgeous looking. This is like a comic specifically made for me. Amazing.
What a storied career.
Yeah.
And the rest is history, I suppose, for me. And then I guess the Radzar score really kicks in, and from there, I just learn everything that I can about characters I like, characters I don't, stories that I like, stories that I don't. I took summers and I just read a single title. Mm-hmm. Not even a run. Just, I want to read. I took a summer where I just read all of Avengers.
Nice.
Like from
wow.
Stern all the way to, I guess we were at Aaron at that point. All the way through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Insane stuff. There's some weird shit that happens in Avengers.
I like the Roger Stern era. I love, obviously my favorites are obviously Bendis and Hickman, just because that's just like the writing that I gravitate towards. But if we're talking like classic stuff, I think Stern is like maybe peak of that, of like peak, like pre-Bendis, like peak Avengers is Stern and Busiek, like those two. Those
Busiek,
two runs are.
Waiting for you to say
I
that.
love the Busiek. I have the 2 omnibuses like sitting on my shelf over there. I love Kurt Busiek's Avengers. It like, if my 2 favorites are Bendis and Hickman, like tied as 1, Busiek is a close second right down there, like very close second.
Busiek. I was a child of Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
That's what that entire show is based off of Busiek's run.
Yeah,
pretty much. Like that. If you like the tone of that cartoon, you will love Kurt Busiek's Avengers.
Watch Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Read
Good
Kurt
cartoon.
Busiek's Avengers. God, listeners, you have a lot of homework. I'm sorry.
Got a lot of homework. Yeah. All right. All right. So let's get into part 1 of Destiny of X. So what we're going to be focusing on are the 2 kind of big events that really kick off this era, because it's, again, like I said in the intro, there's this era of Krakoa is so dense. There's just so much to talk about, and we don't have enough time to talk about everything in here. Like, there's just a lot. So we're going to be talking about 10 Lives and 10 Deaths of Wolverine first. Then we're going to be talking about the 2 big titles that debuted, which was Immortal X-Men and X-Men Red. We're going to be talking about the first volumes of both of those. We'll touch on a bit of the Hellfire Gala. Not too much happens in this, to be honest. It's just kind of the second one. The third Hellfire Gala, which I will talk way later down the line, that's like the big one to talk about. But after that, we're going to be talking about Axe Judgment Day, which was the big event during this era of Krakoa, smack dab right in the middle when all this stuff was coming out. So, so first I want to talk 10 Lives and 10 Deaths of Wolverine. This is the immediate follow-up to Inferno, which I love Inferno. Faults and all, I love it. 10 Lives and 10 Deaths. Not so much. Overall, I don't like this comic. I like Benjamin Percy. I really, really like, his name is blanking on me. What is one of the artists?
Is it Joshua Cassara?
Josh Cassara, thank you. It's been a long day, listeners.
It's been a long day this morning.
Yes, it has been. But Yeah, I love those creators. The other artists I'm not such a huge fan of, but that's just my personal taste. But yeah, I like half of this. I like the Sabretooth, or not Sabretooth, the Omega Red stuff. I think that that's a lot of fun. The Moira stuff is not. I'm not a fan. I think that, and it might be just because this came out immediately after Inferno, and I don't know. I'm not a fan. What are your thoughts on 10 Lives and 10 Deaths?
I really like the 10 Lives. I'm not a fan of the 10 Deaths. I think the stuff of Wolverine in the past, very much Fox X-Men Days of Future Past kind of deal.
Yeah, very much. So we're kind of on the same page then. We like the same half, dislike the other half. All right.
Yeah, I want to know why you don't like the Moira stuff, because there's a very specific reason why I don't like the Moira stuff. Can you?
Well, I want to. What are your specific reasons? Like, just dive into that a bit.
There's one. There's one very specific reason why I don't like the Moira stuff. So, historically, before I read Wolverine and the X-Men and discovered my number one favorite comics character of all time, which listeners you will know since you've seen my subtitle in the title of this episode, my goat Trevor Hawkins. One of my favorite X-Men characters has always been Banshee. And I think
I see where this is going.
Where I'm going with this. I was a Gen X kid. I really, really loved Generation X because I was a New Mutants junkie. I really, really love that kind of storytelling. I really love the learning to be a mutant stuff, and Banshee was always very much in that story. And then Moira wears him like a meat suit.
Yeah, it was a very weird, kind of out of nowhere moment. I didn't like that moment either, but for me it's less so. Just to preface this, my reading habits tend to gravitate towards creators I like rather than character. Obviously, I like my characters. Like, I love Daredevil; he's my favorite. I love certain characters, and I've read a lot of their specific titles throughout the years, and I've done like my character deep dives and all that kind of stuff, like X-Men being an example. So for me, I didn't like that moment. Obviously, I do like Banshee as a character, but why I don't like the Moira stuff in this is just because of like how uninteresting I think it is. It's like Hickman started this Krakoa era, had this really interesting thing going on with Moira, kind of changed it a bit through, I mean, Hickman recently did an interview with Off Panel talking about how disappointed he is he couldn't finish it. I think a lot of people took that out of context, thinking that he was blaming Marvel editorial. I think that Hickman was just talking about that from an artistic standpoint. He didn't get to finish, so he was disappointed in himself. It's a whole nother conversation,
yeah,
but
I think that's kind of textually what he meant.
Yeah, but regardless, a lot of stuff happened. Like, these comics were coming out during the pandemic. A lot of stuff got changed. There was a lot of complications. A lot of stuff had to get changed. Hickman left and changed a lot of his plans and kind of left the door open for what was going to happen with Moira post Inferno. And I think that what Benjamin Percy and the rest of the team working on Krakoa did after that was just very uninteresting and super predictable and just boring. Pretty much, I mean, to simplify, in simple terms, they just make Moira evil. And I just think that that's so uninteresting. And the way they go about it, it's like, oh, Moira always, in all her past lives, like, she's always hated mutants. She's always wanted to wipe them out and make a cure. And she's actually evil. She's never been on their side. And she's been kind of in the shadows the whole time. And it's just, I just find that so uninteresting. And I don't know, just, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And this kind of started that domino effect of just like the quality dipping on a lot of these Krakoa books and just me becoming less and less interested. That was happening when these were coming out. And then on this reread, my opinion on a lot of this stuff went down a little more. So that's kind of my mindset on 10 Lives. I do really like the Omega Red stuff. I think it's a ton of fun. I think Josh Cassara draws the hell out of it. Like you said, it's very Days of Future Past, where we see Wolverine kind of hopping through time, reliving all these different events of his life, and Omega Red is like possessing and inhabiting different people around him, and it's just a lot of fun. If that itself was just like a book without the other half, I would have enjoyed this a lot more. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on this.
It really could have been 5 issues. That's how I was sold on this story. Why I originally read it, I guess it was 2 week by 2 week, was...
It was similar to Palace and Powers, like the same kind of release schedule, I think.
Yeah. It was, hey, time-displaced Omega Red is trying to kill Professor X's lineage. Wolverine has to go save him. That's very simple, but it works.
It does, yeah.
I was kind of blindsided by all the Moira stuff, and the Moira stuff doesn't fit, like, thematically in the story. It's just, there are 2 different minis going on, and
they could have been 2 completely different series.
Yeah.
Like, they don't fit together. Like, this is collected in 1 volume, both series, and they don't, like, it's like Whiplash. Like, they don't fit at all.
Yeah. And again, to your point on Moira, looking at it through the breadth of the era, you see her like willing participation in many of her lives with people like Magneto and Apocalypse. No one who works with Apocalypse goes, hey, I'm going to make this mutant nation, but oops, I'm a bigot now.
It makes no sense.
It's it starts to become like a too many villains problem.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's just so uninteresting to me. Like, it just really is. And it's a shame. Like, it really is kind of a shame. And again, this is not us hating. I mean, I don't want to... There's a lot of toxicity, especially towards this stuff during Krakoa, towards creators. This is not that.
Yeah, no,
again,
it's...
This is just us purely our thoughts on the story. I just want to reiterate that because a lot of stuff gets taken out of context.
If I get clips from this, I'm gonna fight.
No, you won't. You won't. Listen, this show, like, listeners of the show know, like, we don't condone hating on creators or like bigotry, anything like that. So,
I actually have a really good transition for you.
All right, yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
The problem with making Moira an overt villain is that we already have a lot of villains in this era. You know where we can find them? You want to know where we can find them? In the pages of Immortal X-Men.
Yes. And man, this Immortal, so just to preface, Immortal X-Men and X-Men Red are the saving grace of the final half of Krakoa, from Destiny through Fall of X. Yeah. These 2 books are 2 of the best books out of all of Krakoa. They are the diamonds in the rough during this period. So, Immortal X-Men is written by Kieran Gillen, with art in this first volume, art primarily by Lucas Wernick, who is an excellent artist. This is the first time I've ever seen his work, and I was blown away. This guy is an incredible artist, and I think he's drawing Storm right now, which is a book I'm not reading, but I want to I'm gonna pick up the trades for that. Amazing artist. Kieran Gillen, obviously one of my favorite writers working today. I had him on the show not too long ago. One of my favorite writers. So this book was a slam dunk, and this first volume, like, what a first volume. Yeah. What a first issue. I mean, issue 1 with Hope is it's an issue focused on Hope, and it is so good. So after post Inferno, Hope is now on the Quiet Council, and this is just kind of like what she's doing. The first issue focuses on her, and it is awesome. So just first, what are your thoughts on this first volume of Immortal X-Men?
This first volume, I was not reading. Well, I got the first 2 issues in singles. Then I got the first 2 volumes in trades, like as soon as volume 2 came out. What really struck me about let's just stick with the first volume, because I think volume 2 goes.
Volume 2 is
after
post
Axe.
Axe, yeah, post Axe.
Yeah. I really, really love each issue focuses on a different member of the Quiet Council.
Yes, it's like an anthology. It's great.
Yeah, it's amazing. My one critique, and this is for volume 2, the Kitty Pryde issue is not a Kitty Pryde issue.
Yeah.
It is
but,
another Mr. Sinister issue.
Well, I mean, Gillen loves Mr. Sinister. I mean, modern Mr. Sinister was essentially created by Kieran Gillen.
Yeah. Don't you mean Sheldon Xenos? Actually.
But I mean, I love the Emma Frost issue, and it would have been even better if it was drawn by Lucas Wernick, which that was the one like fill-in issue, but still an incredible issue. That might be I don't know if it is my favorite of this volume, but I mean, that first issue is so good. There's that one, like, there's a page of Hope holding the sniper rifle that I always think about. It is so awesome. Man.
Trained by the greatest soldier in history.
Yeah, I mean.
She could take the shot. Bang.
It's so good. Kieran Gillen, man. Like, this guy. If you're not, are you reading Power Fantasy?
I am reading Power Fantasy.
It's real good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
It's real good.
You want to know what I found the other day? Because at my job, we have just a wall of trades. Volumes 1 and 3 of Die.
I don't know if you can see, I have the hardcover. It's behind me, yeah. I'll off mic, I'll tell you a little story about that. But, yeah, just, and it's kind of on brand that we bring up Power Fantasy, because this is kind of the prelude to Power Fantasy. Like, Kieran Gillen does Immortal X-Men, and I did ask him when I had him on the show, I did ask him if while he was writing Immortal X-Men, did he already have the idea for Power Fantasy, or did Power Fantasy spawn out of Immortal X-Men? And he gives a very interesting answer to that question. And if you want to like hear that, obviously listeners, go listen to that episode. But Power Fantasy is him kind of expanding on a lot of the ideas that he wasn't allowed to do with Immortal X-Men, and he takes it. And I honestly think Power Fantasy obviously is a better book, but that's a whole nother conversation. But Immortal X-Men is, if you like the Power Fantasy, it's Kieran Gillen doing a lot of stuff that he's doing in Power Fantasy now in the Marvel Universe, which is very interesting. There's a lot of like political intrigue and a lot of infighting and a lot of powerful individuals doing stuff behind the scenes in the Marvel Universe, and it is a very interesting book. It's similar to something like Bendis' Illuminati, but a little bit more shady, because they're actually, like you said earlier, this involves actual villains like Mr. Sinister and Exodus and just a lot of other shady characters.
And Charles Xavier, who toes that line. Just always towing that line. I always quote my favorite Charles Xavier writer is Mike Carey, who toes that line perfectly. And yeah, in this, again, Kieran Gillen does such a great job of towing that line between, is Xavier a good guy with good intentions, or is he just a shady bastard? I mean, he's got child soldiers.
Yeah.
That's about as shady as you can get.
Yeah.
Oh man, what else can I say about Immortal X-Men? It is where most comics are, let's say, 18-ish pages of mostly action, and let's say 4 or 5
big
pages.
2 comics, yeah.
Yeah, big 2 comics. All right. Big 2 comics are mostly 18 pages of action and like 4 or 5 pages of talking, mainly dialogue. Immortal X-Men is like almost all dialogue, and it's the coolest thing ever.
It's the most it's like the most engaged I've been. It's like some of the most engaging stuff in Krakoa. Like, you want to keep reading. I remember, like on this reread, I was just gonna, like when I was doing this reread for this entire series, I would kind of go like slow. Like I would just kind of take it like by vibes. Like if I wanted to binge a series, if I was really into it again, I would. With Immortal X-Men, I ripped through the entire series. In like a couple sittings, I was like, man, I was just remembering how good it was when it was coming out, and it's so good, and it reads even better on reread.
Yeah. Oh God, when the Colossus issue, when everyone puts their faith in him because he's the best of us. He is the strongest of us. He knows what's right, and he can't do it. Oh,
It's so good. It is so good.
oh, I'm gonna go reread it again now.
Gotta. All right, so let's talk about X-Men Red for a bit, because this is the other one
Goat
that is
alert.
saving grace. This is the other saving grace of the latter half of Krakoa for me. Another amazing creative team. Al Ewing, another one of my favorite working writers right now. Yeah, what else can I say? This is the follow-up to Sword, which I did go kind of in-depth talking about with Dom of X back in the Reign of X episode. But this Sword ends, where Sword ends, this kind of picks up. Sword sets up Al Ewing. Sword is the first time Al Ewing writes Storm in the X-Men titles, and then X-Men Red is essentially... Storm is like the lead character. It's Storm and Magneto as the two leads. Drawn beautifully by Stefano Caselli, who is... I love Stefano Caselli. Like he drew my favorite stuff in Inferno. He drew Secret Warriors. He drew a lot of Hickman's Avengers. I think he's such an underappreciated artist. He's incredible, and he draws some pretty people. I mean, this is Storm at her most gorgeous looking in comics, I think. Just absolutely incredible. And Al Ewing writes maybe my second favorite Storm. Obviously, like, Claremont is on top for writing that character. Like, Claremont practically invented Storm. He's not the creator of her, but he gave her all of her characterization, all of her depth, and all her most important stories were written by Claremont. But Ewing is second, right down there. All of X-Men Red is such an incredible Storm story. And it is equally an incredible Magneto story. So I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on both the two leads of this book, Magneto and Storm, and how do you think Al Ewing writes them? Like, where does he rank in your writing of these characters?
I think we're of the same mind here, because for a character like Storm, you can't really beat, like, if we're going band for band here, I don't think that Al Ewing can beat who will lead them, but he can get damn close.
Yeah.
Every single time Storm says something or does something, I'm locked in. I'm leaning forward. And, like, I think this Destiny of X before X-Men Red is the arc with the Arakoan Crucible, with the fight with Tarn the Uncaring.
Yes, and Magneto coming in with the helmet and all that, and that amazing scene.
Oh, powers are allowed. Okay.
Yeah, it's so amazing, and a lot of this is like setup, which is, I think, is interesting. Like the first like 3 issues, like 3-4 issues are all kind of set up to what's to come in X-Men Red, and man, it's so, again, it's more like political drama, but just on Mars this time. And I think there's a theme here, like the two best Krakoa books are about, the two best Krakoa books during this era are about shady people doing shady things in political climates. And it's man, These books are really good. Like, they're just so good.
It's almost as if the compromising to make a nation is really gripping.
Yes. I mean, yeah, I like Magneto. Like maybe the best stuff in this book. It's such a toss-up between all the Magneto stuff and the Storm stuff.
And we'll get to the best Magneto stuff in a bit.
Later on, yeah. I mean, man, it's just such a good. I mean, Al Ewing, what an incredible like writer.
What a gift we as readers have gotten.
Especially in like I mean, I love like Immortal Hulk is like one of my like one of the best comics of the 2020s. Like I like bar none, and he has just done that kind of quality. Like he just pushes out quality books all the time.
Strength to strength to strength to strength. I don't think he's ever missed.
Not that I can think of, honestly. He's just one of the best writers we have right now in Big Two Comics. I mean, truly, and I love the stuff he's doing right now at DC. And I'm excited to see whatever he's doing now. I know he's writing Thor right now. I'm very behind on Thor. But I can't wait to catch up on that. I liked the first volume I read. But yeah. So yeah, any other thoughts that you want to share on X-Men Red?
I do have an issue with X-Men Red.
Okay.
I do have somewhat of an issue. I think that Roberto da Costa is not utilized to his fullest extent. X-Men
That's
Red
fair.
is very much the Storm and Magneto show, and that is amazing on its own. I love the Storm and Magneto show, but Sunspot is on the cover.
Yeah, you know what? That is fair. He's on the cover of issue 1. That is fair. And
He gets not a lot to do. He gets 2 good moments in this volume. He gets a really
2 great moments, yeah.
He gets
the bar fight is really cool.
Yeah. Well, not even. No, that's 3 now. His interaction with Iska the Unbeatable.
Yes. Oh my god, that's
Crucible,
incredible.
And his talk with Wrong Slide in the 4 stories about death.
Oh, it's devastating.
It is. I just kind of wish he was more central to the narrative. He's great.
I get that.
Character.
Yeah.
He's great with. He is Mr. Side Plots.
Mm-hmm.
Get the bag, Roberto. Maybe it's time that you can graduate to Mr. Main Plot. Go hang out with your boyfriend and your boyfriend's wife.
I get that. Yeah, you know, but here's the thing. I love Al Ewing and Hickman both write a very similar Sunspot, and I love their Sunspot. Like that might be my favorite. That might be my favorite. Like version of the character. It's tough because I do like Claremont's. Like I love that original New Mutants run. Yeah. But again, like just some like you mentioned, like that moment with Iska the Unbeaten is so good. And again, it's just dialogue. It's just him kind of talking. It's him talking her down. Basically, she's like, "No one can beat me. I can never lose a fight." And then he finds a way with his words, and it's so good. Just what a good book.
Height moments, aura, and good writing.
Yeah, I mean that's all you could ask for. I mean, again, like I said earlier, I'm not sure if you necessarily agree, but for me, like these 2 books were like the saving grace of my interest in this era of Krakoa, this latter half from Destiny of X to Fall of X. Like these 2 books were like my saving grace. It's like why I stayed attached up until the end, because they were just so good, and they ended up being 2 of my favorites out of everything from the entirety of Krakoa. I love these books, and we'll get more into, because the plots don't really start until post acts, so we'll get into that more in part 2.
We're very much rolling up to when things really kick in.
Yeah, and we're not really like talking specifics because there's really not much to talk about yet. It's really just introduction stuff and setting stuff up.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to the Destiny War yet.
No.
Or is it Genesis War? I think it's Genesis War.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to, tease up for next part, Sins of Sinister and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just
But
for reference, the breadth of Destiny of X spans from 10 Lives, 10 Deaths of Wolverine all the way to Sins of Sinister.
and then post that too. Like there's more. It doesn't end till I kind of count like the ending of this is technically right before the next Hellfire Gala, and then it's like switches.
Okay.
So it goes on for
it goes
a
until,
long
So
time.
Fall of X is that Hellfire Gala.
Fall of X, like it starts right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, two incredible books that we will get into the meat of in part 2, because these are just introductory titles. So
I'm gonna retention farm a little bit more.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
There is another book.
I was just gonna ask you. Yep. So
this is gonna be for next time. This will be for next time.
Oh, okay.
I do have a book before Axe that I kind of want to touch on a little bit, but I want to tease something for next time. There is a book that we are very much in disagreement on. I think it's peak. You think it's not.
Yeah.
We will get into it. Just don't get abducted by your vampire ex between now and next time.
Yes, so that is a little tease for part 2. So before we move on to, I guess, like the bigger conversation here, which is Axe Judgment Day, which is the big event that took place in the middle of this.
Progenitor in the room.
Yeah, so before we get to all that, are there any books that you quickly want to shout out and just say why you like them before we get on to the big Axe portion of this?
I have.
All right, let's hear it.
It is. So in Destiny of X, we are in the middle, or gearing up to the end, of Vita Ayala's New Mutants. Still being drawn by
very good
goat,
run.
Rod Rice.
Good run.
Rod
I like
Rice.
Love that. He's incredible. And I will say I do love Vita Ayala's New Mutants. But for me, like it kind of ended after the Shadow King stuff. Like to me, like that is like the peak of it, and then afterwards we get like one story that I don't think they even finish. They have another writer come in to finish it, and then the run kind of ends.
Well, because was the Shadow King stuff before or after the Limbo adventure?
Before, so that's like it ends, and then Vita writes I think the first like 2 issues of the Limbo story, and then another writer takes over and finishes out the entire run.
Yeah, because that leads into Lethal Legion, which is later on in Destiny of X, with the first appearance of Escapade, who is a fun character, but I think she works better in Avengers Academy, which is a great book. I love Avengers Academy so much. It is a Marvel Unlimited original, so it's $10 a month, but it is good. You guys should be reading it. It's getting a physical release next month. The first couple of stories are going to be printed. And I also want to shout out Giant Size Thunderbird. Giant Size Thunderbird #1. I think that is a momentous achievement in Marvel's comics writing. Obviously, I don't think either of us are in a position where we can really talk about the cultural significance of
of course not. No,
Thunderbird, but it is. I very much appreciate that story. I think it's really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing to add there. I agree with that. I do think Thunderbird is a good one-shot. And oddly not collected anywhere, but it kind of makes sense because it's just a one-shot. I mean, like, where are you going to throw it in?
Probably Voices.
Yeah, potentially, yeah. I think that could be a good way to throw it in to a collection. But you could pick it up for cheap on at your comic shop, or they probably isn't like a back issue bin, or you can like order it on my comic shop.
It's probably very easy to find. It is still fairly recent.
It's not a tough find. So you can find it on Marvel Unlimited as well. But I do also recommend that one shot. It's a very good one shot.
Yeah. And I am currently looking up the Destiny of X-Men roster.
It's the Jerry Duggan, so it's
Yeah, but is that before the first handoff?
No, so it's still the team that he started with. That it doesn't change until post Axe. So we'll get into that later. But Jerry Duggan's X-Men, I have a complicated relationship with. I don't love it. I like the first 2 volumes, and this is where volume 2 is. So I like the second volume. I like the reveal of, it's Dr. Stasis, right?
Dr. Stasis.
I like the reveal that Dr. Stasis is the original Mr. Sinister. I'm putting that in air quotes. I like that reveal. I don't love Duggan's X-Men. I love those first 2 volumes. I think they're really fun. But we'll get into that later on. Yeah, so are you ready to dive into Axe Judgment Day, which is the big event? We'll spend some time. I mean, listeners, you guys can't see, but he just did the progenitor's little thumb.
You've been judged.
Judging me, which is the premise of this book. So I need to preface this. This book is all this was all set up in Kieran Gillen and Asad Ribic's Eternals run, which is we won't really dive into, but it is a very good comic, very, very good, and I love it.
I have a really interesting thought on that.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, share your thought.
I find it's such a really, really amazing achievement for a comic, because that book started as an MCU synergy book.
Like a lot of stuff in current Marvel publishing does, unfortunately.
Yeah. It started as a synergy book because it started around November 2021 to tie in with the Chloe Zhao movie, and it spawns the summer crossover event in Marvel Comics.
Because Gillen was just like, yeah, whatever, I'm just going to do what I want, and it is awesome. It is one of the best Thanos stories in recent memory, which is really cool. But yeah, so Gillen and Asad Ribic's Eternals, which is a great book that has a full collection that you can buy, leads into Axe. And Axe stands for Avengers, X-Men, Eternals, and then Judgment Day is the subheading. So obviously the X-Men play a role in this, but it is really a Marvel Universe type of event with those 3 corners. Again, the Avengers, the X-Men, and the Eternals. I actually really like this event. I don't think it's perfect. I think that it is one of the better events of the past 10 years. I think the last truly excellent Marvel event was Secret Wars, but I don't think anybody could I think Secret Wars is maybe the best event Marvel's ever done, so I don't think that this would have ever gotten close to that. But this is the one that I've enjoyed the most post Secret Wars, if that makes sense. I don't think it's perfect.
You didn't like Monsters Unleashed?
I didn't even read it.
Shame
but
on you.
Yeah, but regardless, this is not a perfect event, but I think it is good for what it's worth. So what are your overall thoughts on Axe Judgment Day?
I really love Axe. Okay. As someone who was reading Aaron's Avengers month to month, seeing the writer of Eternals tie in a fairly innocuous Avengers plot from 3 years in the past and making that the central force behind the event, that is so cool to me.
It was really interesting, yeah.
To be able to pull that, the Avengers are living out of a Celestial. What do we do with that? Because Aaron's not going to do anything with that. It's gonna be Gillen who does something with that, and that is so cool. I love when Marvel Comics takes big swings, and this is a swing, and I think this is a connect. I think the Progenitor,
for the most part, totally, yeah.
The Progenitor's really fun, and I really love all the tie-ins where we get to see. I mean, yeah, it is very much each writer for each tie-in justifying their love or hate for a character. But I really, really love how each character is judged. Specifically, I want to talk about the dichotomy between how Captain America is judged and how Cyclops is judged.
Very interesting, yes.
I love it so much.
this is again, like I said, it's not a perfect event, but I think that it works, and I like it a lot. I think, just the main book itself works as a story, and it's beautifully drawn by Valerio Schiti, which is always a treat. And obviously that works its own, but I think the tie-in, similar to something like Civil War from back in the 2000s, where I think the tie-ins are actually what really makes this event special. But unlike Civil War, I do really, really enjoy the main event as well. But the tie-ins are really interesting, especially the ones that are actually written by Kieran Gillen. So there are three kind of one-shots, one for Avengers, one for X-Men, and one for the Eternals, all written by Gillen with different art teams. So the Avengers one is Kieran Gillen, and I don't remember who the artist is. Give me one. It's Dustin Weaver.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I could not remember. So it is the first one in like the reading order was Kieran Gillen, and it's Federico Vincini, who I'm not super familiar with, but I know that he's one of the artists on the upcoming Imperial with Hickman. Great artist, really dynamic. That is the Avengers story, which focuses on Tony Stark, and we get just a look into Tony Stark's histories and his trauma, and it's a very excellently written issue by somebody who had a run on Iron Man. So we have like a theme here where Gillen writes these one-shots based off of, or focusing on characters that he has a history with. So Iron Man, and the X-Men issue is focused on Jean Grey, and the Eternals issue is, Eternals, he had just written an Eternals run. So yeah, these one-shots are all great, and they are kind of like my favorite stuff from this event, all of the Gillen stuff. I think the Iron Man one's my favorite, just because I like Iron Man, and I've been recently really been getting into that character's comics. I really like the Iron Man one. I think that he explores a lot of his past trauma, with his alcoholism, his relationship with his parents, and he is judged fairly. I mean, I think it's pretty well justified. Yeah. And the whole impetus with these one shots is we see the history in the past, their mistakes, their traumas, and that's kind of how the progenitor bases their judgment on them, whether they pass or whether they fail. So I guess
actually explain the event.
Yeah. So if you want to explain the event, go ahead. I mean, yeah. So what is, for the listeners, what is like the elevator pitch for this event?
So for those of you who haven't read Acts, this is the pitch. So the Avengers have been living in a dead celestial known as the Progenitor. And the Eternals, they are, I guess, bound to the Celestials. And so to see this dead Celestial basically being carved out and lived out of as like a condo, that's really bad for them. And so they bring the Progenitor back to life with the help of Tony Stark and a few other key Avengers. And the Progenitor basically is kind of pissed off at the world and asks every person, every single living being on the planet to justify their existence within 24 hours, or else they will all die. And so each tie-in issue is essentially a different character's justification or plea to the Progenitor.
Yeah.
Great
Perfect
story.
way to describe it. Yeah, it is very interesting. So I want to ask you, aside from not talking about the Kieran Gillen one-shots that we just mentioned, the Avengers, X-Men, and Eternals ones, what are your favorite tie-ins from just books that were going on at the time that this event was happening?
I have one. Well, actually, no, I have two. The first tie-in is the X-Men Red stuff.
Yes,
I feel like we
that's
have to
the
talk
one I
about
was
it.
gonna. Yeah,
we have to talk
that's
about
the one,
it.
yeah.
It's the death of Magneto. Ripping the Band-Aid off of that one. Magneto dies in that one. I think his final speech to Aurora is so heartbreaking. It is so sad, and it makes you really like clench your it's fist clenching almost. It's guttural. It grabs you. It is so heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
And he passes without ever getting to see his daughter again.
Yeah, and it is what I also really appreciate is like this is like a plot point that sticks up to the end of Krakoa. Like Magneto doesn't get resurrected until the miniseries Resurrection of Magneto, which is like one of the last things that happens in Krakoa. And it's so effective, and I think Al Ewing told this like brilliant tale of death and rebirth with Magneto that I'll get into that later down the line on my like full thoughts on the resurrection portion, but he writes such a beautiful death for Magneto in this issue, and it is the one that I was actually gonna, so I'm glad you brought that up. It was the one that I was gonna bring up, of course. Yeah, so just a brilliant issue.
It's so sad. It is so sad.
Yeah.
And on the opposite side, the Avengers tie-in, not the Axe Avengers.
Mm-hmm. Just from the main title.
Avengers, yeah. I think it's either 30 or 40. It is the justification of Hawkeye. It's a very interesting question that Hawkeye asks is, does he have more value to society than a mailbox? What an awesome question! Because the mailbox can't do wrong.
Yeah. So I've never read this issue. I stopped reading Jason Aaron's Avengers run after like 3 issues.
Smart.
I love Jason Aaron. Not for me. I don't think it was his strongest writing. But yeah, that's I love Hawkeye, so maybe I'll check that issue out.
It's so good. And that's such a fun question to ask. Are you better than a mailbox? Like, morally speaking. The mailbox can't do anything bad. It does a job.
Mm-hmm.
It can't do wrong. Can you do better than that? Who knows?
Potentially.
Maybe. And it's got a really fun supporting role with Mayor Luke Cage. My mayor.
Hell yeah. All right, so let's get into, I guess, the event proper. We're not gonna like go like in depth or anything, like go read the comic. But I guess like what are some of your like key takeaways from the event? Like what are some of your favorite moments?
Cap's speech to the progenitor.
Yeah, I think Captain America this is some great. Kieran Gillen writes a really good Captain America, and I don't think people talk about that enough. Like Kieran Gillen writes the hell out of Captain America in this book.
Does. It's really fun to finally see Captain America in what is an X-Men comic, kind of, I guess.
Yeah.
Cap in an X-Men book, not being written like a fascist.
Yeah, and it's again, like we talked earlier about AVX. Like it just shocks me that Ed Brubaker and Brian Michael Bendis were 2 of the writers on that book, and they are 2 of the best Captain America writers ever. Mm-hmm. And they don't write a great Captain America, but that's a whole other story.
That's an issue with X-Men books in general.
Yeah, and I don't. There was probably some behind the scenes stuff happening. I don't know. We weren't there. It's that book's old. The book's like 10, 15 years old. It's what's done is done. But regardless, I think Captain America is the best character in this event. Like he is awesome, and he gets in issue 5. The final page of issue 5, which was like a huge changing point in Krakoa. Captain America gets resurrected by the 5. He's the first non-mutant to get resurrected, and that's like him. Not just him, but everybody, and
his shield too.
And his shield, yeah. But that's like a big change. He's the first non-mutant to have this happen, and it's such a cool, like, they resurrect somebody, and it's just kind of like the second last page is like, oh, like, who'd you resurrect, yada yada yada, and the final page is just, they say we need a leader. We all think it's going to be Cyclops. Shield breaks out of the egg, and that's the final page. It's a full page spread, beautifully drawn by Valerio Schiti, with Cap's arm busting out of the egg with the shield. It's awesome. Such a badass moment. Like I love it. Like, there's some incredible Captain America stuff in this, and I remember, like, when I was reading this when it was coming out, I was like kind of like starstruck by how good of a Captain America Kieran Gillen writes. Like, I wasn't expecting him to write Captain America of all characters this well.
Yeah, him and Nightcrawler are actually a really fun duo.
Yeah, I mean, man, I love Captain America. So, like, he just kind of works. He bounces off of everybody, but man, I mean, and I think another big strength of this book, which is, like, probably my favorite, I guess, I don't know, like, one of my favorite aspects of this book is Kieran Gillen, I'm pretty sure grew up Catholic, and a lot of his writing too, we get a lot of, like, Catholic themes and themes of Catholic guilt and all that kind of stuff. It's just evident. It's evident in almost all of his books.
Been there.
Yeah, me too. Listen, I also grew up Catholic. There's a whole rabbit hole we can go down, but Gillen has a lot of Catholic, like, background, and he tends to write about Catholic guilt and Catholic, whatever you want to call it, in a lot of his books. And this is, like, on full display here. It is Judgment Day. You know, it is the thing that all religious people kind of wait for in their lifetime.
Genesis.
This is what essentially this is, and Gillen is the perfect person to write this. Like, when I went to reread this, I was surprised on reread by how, like, scary it is. Like, it's really frightening, a lot of the imagery in this and a lot of the prose, like, in the caption boxes. Like, it's scary stuff.
It is.
And I think, like, you have, like, this, like, I think that's why, like, Gillen was the perfect person to do this, because, again, with that background that he has, he understands, like, how to write this in a scary way. It's frightening, and, you know, we get the one scene I always think about when the progenitor, like, wipes everybody out. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
And you get that effect because Gillen had been building that up throughout past issues, and then when you get to that in issue 4, I believe.
Yeah, because that's right after the speech.
It's terrifying. Yeah.
Oh, and the fact, I think what makes it that much scarier is because I think each issue opens and then has a middle section with 4 different civilians.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it is that grounding of a doomsday scenario that we really don't see in big 2 event comics. Like,
yeah.
We don't focus on civilians a lot. And here, like, someone still works through this. Like, they're doing DoorDash through the book of Genesis. And that's so frighteningly real.
It is, like, they're doing DoorDash, they're having family problems, they're, you know, dealing with the death of the one woman's dealing with the death of her husband, and and what I think is interesting is that woman is, like, she wants this to happen. She just, like, her life, I think in the caption boxes it describes, like, her life ended when her husband died. Like, she wants to die along with her husband. She just wants to end it all. And, you know, I think the one that I gravitated towards the most is the lady who's working, like, nonstop, like, multiple jobs to get, you know, funds for her family. And, like, that's, I think if that section, if those, like, little, like, check-ins with just those random civilians weren't in the book, this book would not work.
Yeah. It would not sell the global judgment, the global catastrophe, the fear. It would not work.
Yeah. And what I also think is brilliant is they don't ever, like, really encounter the superheroes. Like, it is just, we are seeing 4 civilians just living through this terrifying event that the superheroes are dealing with. Like you know, you read like Secret Invasion or something, which I love Secret Invasion, but you read like Secret Invasion or something, like we don't really see what's happening to the civilians and on ground level. Like we don't see like Joe Schmo and his like wife who is now replaced by a Skrull. Like we don't see that, but we see how Judgment Day, affect essentially God coming down to end the world. We see how that's affecting regular people, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, it is. I don't know what I would do if that happened. I don't know.
I don't. Me neither. Like like rereading this, like it was something I thought about. I'm like, what would what would what would I do?
How would I be judged?
That too. Like, how would I be judged? Like, have I done enough good in my life to counteract the mistakes I've made?
And
am I,
a good book.
That's just a book that has you thinking. Mm-hmm. That is a sign of a good book. Yeah, and it is one of, again, I think this is the best event post Secret Wars, and I don't even think it's close. I think like it's a really good event. Like it is genuinely really good.
Yeah, and it's coming off the heels of like the last event was what, Empire,
which is like so forgettable. I don't remember a thing. All I remember is that the Kree were in it.
Yeah, and Billy and Teddy got married. That's the most consequential thing that comes out of it. Actually, wait, I'm forgetting one.
And it's like a footnote.
Yeah, I'm forgetting an event because Heroes Reborn was the year before.
I didn't read that, but I remember like nobody talked about that. Yep. I remember that was coming out and nobody. Again, no shade to Jason Aaron. I love your books, but I did not read Jason Aaron's Avengers run. Yeah. I tapped out after 3 issues. It just was not my favorite writing from him. But that book was Heroes Reborn. I remember that was coming out and nobody was talking about it, and I was like, "What is this book? Like, what is this?"
It's 3 strikes of no hype moments, no aura, no good writing.
Man,
sadly.
Again, I love Jason Aaron.
Mr. Aaron, I love your work.
Listen, Scalps, Thor, Southern Bastards, everything you're doing right now.
You created my favorite character. And
hell yeah.
I'm eternally grateful.
Are you reading Absolute Superman? Quick side tangent.
I am reading Absolute Superman.
That might be my favorite of all the Absolute books. That book is
you're wrong,
awesome.
But
I like all of them. I think for me it's like Manhunter, Superman, and then the rest of them it's like the rest of them just kind of like they're all really good. Like it's like we're like ranking all 10s. Like it's not it's hard.
Oof. There are no coughing babies in the Absolute line.
No.
It's all hydrogen bombs.
So good. Yeah. But so any final thoughts on Axe that you want to quickly mention before we start wrapping up?
The art is incredible, the writing's incredible, the tie-ins are awesome. It's kind of like the platonic ideal of a tie-in event. Like if you think of comics event, the thing you think of is probably Axe. Like if you don't think of Secret Wars, you're probably thinking of Axe.
Just like the idea of an event, like this kind of perfectly
the thing to strive for.
Yeah, it's like you have your main story like a stand alongside. It's like it's standalone, and the tie-ins are something that you don't have to read, but when you do read them, they're very additive. So you're getting something out of it.
Yeah, it's something that isn't just. People throw around this word a lot, and I really tend not to throw around this word. Some tie-ins are slop for some events.
That's true. I get that. There's none. I agree, and I will say like I know that I'm probably of the minority here. I think that Civil War is similar. Where I don't love the main Civil War story, but I think all the tie-ins work.
Yeah.
Like especially like the Bendis ones during New Avengers. Like that is some of the best stuff in New Avengers, and it's during the Civil War tie-ins, which was kind of just a monkey wrench. Like if you're reading the book, it kind of just comes out of nowhere. Obviously they were planning it for a while, but in the narrative it's kind of just thrown in there out of nowhere, and it works so well.
Same thing with Brubaker's Cap.
Same thing with Brubaker's Cap. And I think when we're talking big 2 events, when the tie-ins are additive, that's like a great event. Right? The same thing with Secret Invasion. Like I love Secret Invasion as well. Like all the Bendis events, like from like the Bendis era events, like Civil War, Secret Invasion, and Dark Reign, and like Siege, like all that stuff.
Yeah,
I love Siege. When when the tie-ins to the event are purely additive and don't take away from either the story that they were telling in their individual books or are just kind of like filler or whatever to the main event, that's how you know you have a successful Big Two comic event. And I think that Axe is now one of those.
Yeah, I think it is I think it is the best event of the 2020s.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah. Again,
yeah.
Post Secret Wars, this is like the only one that I think
I don't think any DC
that is quality
touches it like at all.
Not that I can remember. No. Not that I can remember. Yeah.
Any big DC crossover events.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Axe is great. So recommend, even if you just pick up the trade, because the trade collects those 3 one-shots that I mentioned earlier, the ones written by Gillen, which are all really great. And he writes. There probably is one.
If you could
I'll
find
link.
a companion, get it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Or you have Marvel Unlimited. Just they have like a whole guide of Axe where they have like all the tie-ins and stuff. But yeah, so. I will say the only thing that I will like critique out of this is like why I don't think it's like perfect. Which again, no comic is really perfect, but why it falls a little flat for me is I think the ending is very rushed.
Yes.
Issue 6 is extremely rushed. This needed like two, maybe 3 more issues.
It is. You give it 8 issues.
This should have been 8 issues. Issue 6 is really rushed and kind of falls flat, but I don't think that it really takes away from all the good. From the previous issues and all like the tie-ins and stuff, but so I really don't have anything else to say about Axe Judgment Day. Do you have any final thoughts quickly before we start wrapping up?
Read the Legion of X tie-in stuff. The Legion Oranos fight is kind of awesome.
Yeah, and we will get into, because Legion of X Volume 1 is in this kind of portion of Destiny of X, but I'm gonna save all the Legion talk for part 2
because again, Sins of Sinister and all that.
Yeah, because again, like Legion Volume 1 is a lot of just setup, or like not really setup, but continuation from the first Simon Spurrier Way of X miniseries. So yeah, we'll get into Legion of X in full in part 2. Don't worry, that is the other book that I like from this era, so we'll definitely get into that. But so before we wrap up, I want to ask you, what are just some things that you're enjoying right now, whether it be movies, comics, TV, video games, an experience, just anything that you want to shout out.
So right now I am fully Andor pilled. Watch Andor on Disney Plus right now. I'm just gonna rapid fire these.
Andor's incredible. Yeah, I second that. It's the best Star Wars thing ever. It is so good.
Yeah, straight up the greatest piece of Star Wars media you'll ever see. Behind me, for our listeners, behind me, my TV is on. That is the pause menu for Doom: The Dark Ages.
Dude.
I'm only 2 levels in. It's really fun. I really like it.
It's on my wish list.
Yeah, it is. I just finished Expedition 33. Great game.
Also on my wish list.
Yep. The gameplay is whatever. I'm not a fan of turn-based RPGs, but the story is awesome, and the cinematography and the direction are amazing. Like, the game director clearly has an eye for cinematography, and it works so well. This is a game that I actually recommend playing on story difficulty, because the less you have to worry about the gameplay, the more you can focus on the story. And this is an incredible story you can focus on.
All right, yeah, it's on my wish list, so I'm gonna buy it regardless. But yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah. And I guess to wrap this up, I am not reading a lot of comics right now for financial reasons, but I am reading Adjectiveless X-Men by Jed MacKay. I think that is the only book that really rises out of From the Ashes. Their other books have their moments. NYX has its moments. Storm has its moments. Force Factor, they both have their moments. But if there was one book to read from the Ashes, it is Adjectiveless X-Men. It is consistent. It is a strong 7.5 out of 10.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm not reading any of the current X-Men books. I've talked about that ad nauseum on this podcast, but
that is fair.
That is like the common consensus of like all my friends tell me is like McKay's X-Men is like very good. It's not like great, but it's like the most consistent and it's good and it's a fun time.
His Cyclops is astounding.
I'll say I've seen a lot of just like out of context like pages from that, and I'm like, yeah, he writes a good Cyclops. I don't think that
brinksmanship monologue is awesome.
That's a book I talked to. Shout out to Matt Parent from Escape the Mojoverse.
Hey.
They keep me up to date because I'm not reading any of them. X-Men is like pretty consistent, like month to month, and I always see panels and I see the Cyclops scenes and I'm like, that's pretty good. And they also convinced me that I'm probably gonna read it once it's on Marvel Unlimited. Once it's like at least like 2 or 3 trades into Marvel Unlimited, like I'm definitely gonna catch up on that. So that is a book that I will definitely be checking out once it's mostly on Marvel Unlimited, because you know how that goes. It's really slow.
Yeah. And obviously read Ultimates. Read the Ultimates.
Oh, yeah. Ultimates is the best Marvel book right now.
Best
it's
Marvel
like
book right now.
Very good. Issue 12 just
came out. It's peak.
Very good issue.
It's
very
peak.
good issue.
Read that.
Yeah. Trade 2 is coming out soon, so if you're not reading, and read anything Dennis can't. I mean, like grab the trade of 20th Century Men, the best comic of the 2020s.
Read Assorted Crisis Events. Read
one of my favorite ongoings.
Events,
real
please.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're a fan of Ice Cream Man,
read
Assorted Crisis
Events.
Events.
That's really good. And I'm also reading Ultimate X-Men. Month
yeah,
to month.
that's a good book.
I think
Yep.
Peach Momoko can write a damn good book.
It is a very fun comic. That is one of the other Marvel books I am reading right now too. It is a very good comic that is not getting the attention that it deserves. It's very good.
I just miss Natsu. Bring her back, please, Peach Momoko. Please let me see Natsu again. It's been 6 months. She's been gone for 6 months. Please.
Yeah. So but yeah, thank you so much for coming on. This is great. This was such a great conversation. I mean, I had a blast, and I'm glad to finally have you on. We were planning on doing an episode together for so long, and it just kept falling through due to like my horrible scheduling.
No, my horrible schedule too.
Yeah, just we were both so busy, and finally getting you on to talk X-Men, which is what I wanted to get you on for. All right, well, thank you so much again for taking time out of your day to come on the show and talk Destiny of X Part 1. I can't wait to have you back for Part 2 in coming months. We will, again, listeners, look forward to that. Before we go, is there anything that you want to plug, like social media-wise?
The only thing that I want to plug is that I have a band. It's just me.
Hell yeah.
I make music by myself. It's a band called The New Jam. That's THENEWJAM on Apple Music and Spotify. I'm going to have another album coming out in the next month or so, depending on when this episode comes out. It might already be out. If not, it'll be out by the time the next episode comes out.
Hell yeah. And I will link all that stuff down in the show notes below. And as well, listeners, all my stuff is down in the show notes below as always. Thank you all so much for listening, and until next time.